So what is good, everybody on YouTube? We are back today with a brand new video, and today we are going to be doing a career simulation of what could be the Nets killer, Collin Sexton. Apparently, he went absolutely off against the Nets, winning the Cavs that game that no one thought they would win. So we're going to simulate his career and see how it actually ends up playing out. If you can, it would be great if you could hit the like button and subscribe as well. Let me know who you guys want down below in the comment section below. As we hop into year one of the simulation, Luka Doncic ends up getting regular season MVP. And LaMelo Ball gets Rookie of the Year. Checking out the standings here, our Cleveland Cavaliers actually finished as the number 4 seed in the Eastern Conference with 51 wins, which is just great, honestly, for this team. Collin Sexton having a fantastic year here at only 22 years old, averaging 25 points per game at an 84 overall, and Darius Garland not that far behind him as he puts up just about 22 a game with good assist numbers as well. First round here, we're going to find ourselves up against the Philadelphia 76ers, a very tough team now with the play of Joel Embiid, and we actually find ourselves able to win that game, getting over Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, helping us get to the second round here, where it has been written in stone. We are going up against that Nets team themselves. They are the number 1 seed, and we are the number 4 seed. And would you look at that, it's a tough one, and it's going down to Game 7 here. Will Collin Sexton go off to secure the dub, or will the Nets' big three be too much this time? And unfortunately, the Nets do end up routing us, despite some decent play there from our team. But Collin Sexton shooting 5 for 15, not really what you want in a big-time game like that. But as you can expect, the Nets do end up winning it all, as they do have that crazy big three now. But we're going into year 2, and you have to keep in mind Collin Sexton was only 22 during that season, so a lot of room for progression here, despite already being a 25 point per game scorer. So we'll take it. And this Cavs team is looking pretty sturdy here, working with a 3.5 star system proficiency. And in year 2 here, Giannis ends up getting MVP, and our Cleveland Cavaliers actually get better as they put up 53 wins on the season, coming in as the number 4 seed, and Collin Sexton even further brings his scoring numbers up to 28.5 points per game, putting him as one of the highest scorers in the entire NBA, and the 3rd highest shooting guard in general. And as you know, shooting guards are a lot of the time one of the positions that gets the most buckets on an NBA team. In the first round here, unfortunately, though, we go up against the Miami Heat, and it was not a good matchup for us at all. Collin Sexton dropping 27 in that Game 5 loss, but getting knocked out in 5 in the first round is obviously not what we're hoping for at all. The Nets do end up making it back to the NBA championship here, this time up against the Phoenix Suns, who obviously have a better team now with the addition of Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton ends up getting Finals MVP. As we go ahead and move into year 3 of this sim, where Sexton is still 23 years old, so not bad at all, at now an 86 overall. And behind him, overall-wise, we have Drummond, Jared Allen, Darius Garland, and Isaac Okoro, which is definitely all very solid players, so I cannot complain with the makeup of this team. And this team has honestly done a lot more early on than I think a lot of people would have given them credit for to start off the year this year. So Luka Doncic ends up getting MVP here in year 3, and Ja Morant actually ends up getting Most Improved Player of the Year. The Cleveland Cavaliers secure the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference with 59 wins on the season, and Collin Sexton gets even better scoring somehow, almost 30 a game, 29.5 points per game on the season, putting him as the number 5 scorer in the entire league, behind only Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Trae Young, and James Harden himself. So it's pretty impressive to say the very least. And on our first round matchup up against the Chicago Bulls, we end up taking it pretty easily as we rout them in 5. Darius Garland dropping 35 there in that dub. And we move into the second round, where we're up against, of course, this Miami Heat team that gave us some troubles in the first round last year. So let's hope that our luck is a little bit better this time and that our guys show up to ball. And it's looking good as we ultimately do end up taking it in 5. Another great Collin Sexton and Darius Garland game there in Game 5. Moving to the Eastern Conference Finals, where we're meeting up against Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks. A tough matchup. And yes, sir, we're going to Game 7, where the real ballers show up. So let's see what we can do here. Hopefully we can rout them and go to the NBA championship. And yes, sir, it's looking good. and we are going to take it 129 to 122. Collin Sexton dropping a 31 piece in that big Game 7 victory, moving us to the NBA championship against last year's NBA champs in the Suns, and unfortunately it's not playing out the way that we want. We find ourselves down 3-0, and we hop into Simcast here to see exactly how it plays out. And we get pretty much mopped up there by 34 points. Collin Sexton still dropping 28 in the loss, and Darius Garland dropping another 23, but it was not enough, unfortunately. Moving us into year 4 here, Collin Sexton already springing up to an 89 overall here at 24 years of age. And with that being said, our other younger guys are also progressing. Darius Garland now at an 84 overall, and Isaac Okoro now up to an 83 overall as well. So our young core is very much coming together. So you love to see it, and we're working with a 4-star system proficiency. Luka Doncic gets yet another MVP season here with the Dallas Mavericks, going crazy early on, and we are leading the Eastern Conference as the number 1 seed with 52 wins on the season. Collin Sexton putting up 26 a game yet again. Very respectable numbers from the kid, doing his thing for sure. Coming in as the number 6 scorer in the entire NBA this season, which you love to see. First round matchup here, of course, we're the 1 seed going up against the 8 seed, which is the Sixers, and that's a little bit dangerous of an 8 seed in my opinion, but we're going to hop into Simcast and see exactly what we could do here. Hopefully we can route them so that we don't get upset, because obviously you never want to be the 1 seed getting upset, but we do end up actually taking it by 10 points there. Collin Sexton dropping 34 in that big clutch game, which just shows kind of his genes. Second round here up against the Orlando Magic, a team that I'm not sure how they'll perform. They do have Vucevic and a few other decent players, but I personally think our roster is better. But we do find ourselves down here 3-2 in the series, so of course we're going to hop into Simcast and see if we can clutch up and push it to 7. And yes, sir, we do. Taking a 10-point dub there, Cole Anthony being their leading scorer, and of course 24 for Collin Sexton in that game. Pushing us to a Game 7 here where it is going to get gritty, and hopefully our guys show up, and it's looking pretty good here as we find ourselves with about a 20-point dub. 31-point performance there from Sexton. And we move back into the Eastern Conference Finals where we're up against the Atlanta Hawks yet again and Trae Young. Not a joke of a team by any means, but we do 4-0 them, which is honestly a little surprising that it was so easy. Moving back to the finals here, this time up against the Dallas Mavericks, who have a GOAT squad. Look at this. Luka Doncic, LeBron, Clint Capella, and KD all teamed up together. I don't know how that was even allowed. But somehow we also find ourselves up 3-1 in the series, and we hop into the final game here. And as you can see, that's all she wrote. About a 20-point dub. Somehow our Cleveland Cavaliers take down that insane squad they had of LeBron, KD, Luka, and Clint Capella. So I'll take it, to say the very least. We get Collin Sexton his first NBA championship of this sim. And looking into the stats a little, 38 points there on great shooting efficiency from Collin Sexton, leading the team. And I hope he got Finals MVP, boys. Let's check it out. Yes, sir, averaging 31.4 points per game. He got it done. Moving us into year 5 here. And now one-time NBA champion Collin Sexton now up to a 90 overall. Working with about a 4-star system proficiency. MVP actually goes to Giannis here. And to my surprise, with the championship hangover, we only get 43 wins and miss the playoffs here. Darius Garland actually leading the team in scoring with 27.3, but almost 25 for Collin Sexton. No joke there by any means either. Wizards and Nuggets in the finals here. And surprisingly, the Wizards end up taking it with Caleb Love getting MVP, helping move us into year 6, where Sexton is now up to a 91 overall, and Darius Garland has progressed up to an 87 overall, so our guard duo is kind of going crazy. Ja Morant ends up grabbing MVP this season with almost 31 points per game, and we do end up making playoffs with 44 wins, only one more win than last season, but this year it secures us the 6th seed, so I will take it, as we have a first round matchup here up against the Orlando Magic that actually did give us a hard-fought series last time we played them in the playoffs. And it's back and forth early on here as we find ourselves up 3-2, and we ultimately end up taking it in 6 with a 26-point performance from Collin Sexton. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but this kid is just getting buckets, to say the very least. Second round here, we're up against the Hawks that last time we played, we 4-0'd them, but they're giving us way more troubles this time, and we just blew a 3-0 lead, and it's definitely not on Collin Sexton, who dropped 41 points in that game. But despite his grit there, we could not get it done, and we move into year 7. There is always another year to try to get it done. And in year 7 here, Luka ends up getting MVP. Sixth man of the year actually going to Domantas Sabonis. And our Cleveland Cavaliers come in as the number 4 seed, which is definitely an upgrade from the past couple seasons. With that being said, 22.7 points per game for Collin Sexton. Honestly, a little bit of a down year scoring-wise, but I'm sure it was at the cost of the team maybe getting a few more wins, so I will take it. Second round here, we find ourselves up against Giannis and the Bucks, who are the number 1 seed, and we find ourselves down 3-2 in the series. And this is the game that could have pushed it to Game 7, but instead we get cooked by about 30. Collin Sexton dropping 27 in that game, still doing everything he can do to get us the dub, but it just was not in the equation. Luka Doncic ends up defeating Giannis and getting Finals MVP here in year 7, moving us into year 8, where you look at the team and there is no longer a Collin Sexton. So we got to see where Collin Sexton actually ended up going in free agency, and it looks like he actually went to the Houston Rockets, who have LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny. So he'll be working with another great guard here, and seeing how that works out with OG Anunoby playing the small forward position for the squad as well. So not too bad of a position he was put into. We will take it and see how this works out. Luka Doncic gets another MVP here, man. I wish I was keeping count, because it's a heck of a lot. And we have 45 wins on the season, so not bad by any means. Bronny putting up 22.8 points per game, and right behind him, Collin Sexton dropping 22.2 a game, and finally getting his first All-Star appearance, because he was snubbed for years and years there, despite being one of the highest scorers in the league. In the first round here, we have a matchup up against the T-Wolves, who have Anthony Edwards and Zion both together as kind of their big two. So let's see if Bronny and Collin Sexton can take them two down. And no, sir, we cannot. As we get rattled in 5 here, Zion dropping 32, Bronny dropping a 28 piece, and only 16 there from Sexton in the big game. But the Bucks end up beating the T-Wolves anyway. Giannis getting himself another Finals MVP here, helping us move into year 9 of the sim, where our Rockets no longer have Bronny, but apparently we have Scottie Pippen Jr. at our point. So not too big of a deal, I guess. Luka ends up getting another regular season MVP. And Defensive Player of the Year actually goes to Scottie Pippen Jr. as we grab about 50 wins on the season. So we definitely make the playoffs. 23.5 points per game here for Sexton. And believe it or not, we have the same first round matchup we had last year, which was the T-Wolves that knocked us out 4-1. And it's not looking like our result's going to be any better this year, as now we get swept in the first round, 4-0 by this T-Wolves squad. Definitely not the year we were hoping for by any means, but it is what it is. And we move on to the next season here, year 10, looking at the squad and what we got going on. We're working with a 3-star system proficiency, so not anything too great. And we'll see how it ends up turning out. You never know. Luka Doncic gets another MVP season here, and we still are about a 5 seed, which is just middle of the pack. 23 wins, 23 points per game here for Sexton. And finally, we might make it out of the first round as we go to Game 7 with this Utah Jazz team. And it's very back and forth, and we ultimately end up losing by 9. Big tragedy there. You hate to see it. Only 6 points from Sexton in that L. Definitely should have tried to get him more involved. Mavs versus the Raptors here in the finals in the year 2030. And Luka grabbing himself yet another championship and yet another finals MVP. Moving us into year 11, now 31-year-old Sexton. Still chilling at a 93 overall. Leading this Rockets team, but this Rockets team really has not been working out in all honesty compared to our Cleveland Cavaliers run. But it is what it is. Ja Morant grabbing an MVP here late in his career. And we come in as the number 3 seed in the Western Conference. Looking at the season stats, 24.3 points per game for Sexton. Still averaging really good scoring numbers. And he actually was able to team up with Darius Garland again, who's putting up just about 23 a game. Sexton now a 3-time All-Star. which are mostly all later in his career because he was snubbed a lot early on for All-Star appearances, but it is what it is. An unsuccessful playoff run there, moving us into year 12, where Collin Sexton is no longer with the Rockets, and he's moved on to go to the New York Knicks, where he's actually got a pretty solid team around him in all honesty. 89 overall and 87 overall, so he might be able to make some moves in the playoffs here. Still at a 93 overall, so it's still technically in the peak of his career, so we will take that to say the very least. Working with about a 4-star system proficiency, and we come in as the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, putting up 53 wins on the season. Sexton, of course, leading the team in scoring with 23 points per game. First round matchup here, 1 seed Knicks up against the 8 seed Hornets, and hopefully we don't get upset here because we don't want to see that by any means. And we find ourselves down in the series 3-2, and we're going to hop into Simcast and see if we can push this to a Game 7 here, and hopefully we can, and yes sir, we take that one by 5. Collin Sexton dropping 38 to get it done, and here we go. We need to get out of the first round, and it feels like it's been forever. Not looking good so far as the Hornets took off on us early, but a little back and forth here in the 4th. And unfortunately, it's not looking good, as we end up losing by 5 points there. Collin Sexton not doing all that much in the big Game 7. 33-year-old Collin Sexton now 93 overall still, and we are in the 13th year of his career now. 4-time All-Star. Team around him's not awful, but it seems like the playoffs just haven't been our specialty, in all honesty. At the end of the season, we come in the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. Not too bad. Sexton's scoring numbers starting to decline a little bit. 20 points per game on the season. And our first round matchup's going to be up against the Washington Wizards here. See if we can make some moves here and maybe progress a little in the playoffs, but it's not looking great. Yet again, man, this career has been a lot of first round exits for Sexton in the playoffs. Consistently making the playoffs, but not a lot of success besides that one. We made it to the championship twice, but we went 1 for 2, of course. Trae Young getting a Finals MVP there in a year 14, and 91 overall. Sexton still the highest overall on this Knicks team, leading the team still. And of course, we're gonna let him be the #1 scoring option because why not at this point? LaMelo Ball getting MVP here. And let's see how that actually affected him. And wow, this Knicks team only picked up 25 wins. And Collin Sexton put up almost 24 points per game. But maybe in a world with him as the #1 scoring option at this point in his career is not the best option for the team. Moving us into year 15 here, where Collin Sexton's down 89 overall. And you see what our rotations are looking like here. Nothing too crazy. So let's see how this year ends up playing out, and hopefully it's for the better, and we could grab him another ring before it's all said and done with. Jalen Lewis having an MVP season here for the Wizards, and let's check out where our Knicks are, and we do unfortunately miss the playoffs with 36 wins. Collin Sexton putting up 19.5 points per game, and just unfortunately we can't get to the playoffs, and when we get there it seems like we can't make it out of the first round. Moving into year 16 here, Collin Sexton did change teams, going to the Kings, so maybe a change of scenery will do him good here, as he is the 3rd highest overall on the team, which is probably a good thing, where he can be the 3rd option in theory, as opposed to the #1 option on the Knicks. But we do actually end up making playoffs. We grab the #6 seed, which ain't too bad. Sexton bringing his scoring numbers down to 16 a game, where we're going to be up against the Suns in the first round, who have been a tough team in these Sims. And unfortunately, it's not looking good for us yet again, as we get 4-0 swept in the first round. Another first round exit for Collin Sexton's career. Moving us into year 17 here. Collin Sexton, 84 overall. Still the 3rd highest overall on this Kings team in general. But he is coming off the bench as the 6th man, which is a pretty good role for him in all honesty as a bench scorer. And despite putting up 43 wins, it was not enough to make the playoffs here. Collin Sexton off the bench as the 6th man, still the 2nd highest scorer on the team. And with that being said and done, Collin Sexton, an 84 overall, ultimately ends up retiring, hanging it up alongside guys like Ben Simmons, Mitchell Robinson, and RJ Barrett. Checking out the Hall of Fame inductees, Ben Simmons, Collin Sexton, and DeAndre Ayton. And of course, we're going to hop in and look at what the awards were looking like. And as you can see, all-time points, Collin Sexton was 6th amongst all players, but still only a 4-time All-Star. That's pretty crazy to me. but he has a lot of the great scoring accolades. And I'm going to let this roll through as always. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Well, I wish we could have got Collin Sexton some more rings in it, but it is what it is. Of course, I don't script these, so it could go bad, it could go great. If you want to subscribe for more of these type of videos, be sure to smash the like button if you made it all the way through. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. I appreciate all you guys for watching. Stay safe. Bean out.